You already know that feeling. It hits you at the most inconvenient times. Maybe it's 2 in the afternoon, and you're sitting at your desk trying to focus, but your mind keeps drifting. Not to your work, not to anything productive. It drifts to something sweet, something sugary. And you tell yourself you won't give in this time. You made a promise to yourself this morning. But then the craving gets louder. It's not even hunger. It's something else entirely, something deeper. And before you even realize what happened, the wrapper is in your hand and the guilt is already settling in. That cycle, that specific cycle right there, that is what we're talking about today. And I promise you, by the time you finish watching this, you are going to understand exactly why that happens and exactly how to stop it without feeling like you're punishing yourself every single day. Because here's the thing most people get completely wrong about sugar cravings. They think it's a willpower problem. They think if they just had more discipline, more grit, more determination, they could white-knuckle their way through it. But that is not what the science says. Research shows that sugar activates the same reward pathways in the brain as certain addictive substances. Your brain isn't being weak, it's literally been trained, conditioned. And you've been fighting against your own biology this entire time without even knowing it. Before we go any further, I want to mention something briefly. There is a program linked in the video description below that goes much deeper into everything we're covering today. Now, most people will scroll right past it. Most people will keep doing what they've always done and keep getting the same results. But if even a small part of you feels like you're ready for something different, something that actually works, you might want to take a look before you're too far into the same old patterns to notice the exit. We'll come back to that at the end. For now, let's get into the real stuff. Let's talk about what this actually feels like from the inside. Because I don't think people talk about this honestly enough. You wake up in the morning with genuine intentions. You're going to eat clean today. You feel good about it. Maybe you have a solid breakfast, nothing too indulgent, and you feel proud of yourself. Then around midday something shifts. Your energy starts to dip, your focus starts to blur. And your body sends out this signal that feels almost like urgency, like you need something right now. And the thing it's asking for is almost always something sweet, and it doesn't stop there. Because even when you resist in that moment, the craving doesn't disappear. It waits. It comes back stronger. It finds you when you're tired, when you're stressed, when you're bored, when you're emotional. It has perfect timing. It shows up right when your defenses are at their lowest. And that's not an accident. That's biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here is where the real damage happens though. And this part matters. When you give in repeatedly, the guilt isn't just emotional, it compounds. It starts to affect how you see yourself. You start to believe that you just don't have what it takes. That everyone else figured this out and you're the one left behind still fighting the same battle every single afternoon. That feeling of being stuck, of being your own worst enemy, of trying so hard and still ending up right back where you started, that is one of the heaviest things a person can carry quietly. Now let's flip this completely, because the people who have genuinely broken free from sugar cravings describe something that sounds almost unbelievable at first. They describe walking past things they used to be obsessed with and feeling absolutely nothing. Not white-knuckling it, not gritting their teeth, just genuinely not interested. They describe having mental clarity that used to only show up in short windows now lasting for hours. They describe their mood becoming more stable, more predictable, less hijacked by blood sugar crashes that used to leave them irritable and foggy without even understanding why. And here's a number that might surprise you. Most people who implement the right strategies report noticing a significant shift in their cravings within just 7 to 10 days, not months, not after a complete lifestyle overhaul. Within days. Because when you work with your biology instead of against it, the results come faster than most people expect. Now let's get into the actual strategies, and I want to be really clear. These are not vague tips. These are specific, research-backed approaches that change what's happening inside your body on a physiological level. The first thing you need to understand is blood sugar stability. Every single craving you experience is downstream of a blood sugar event. When your blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to bring it back down. But often it overcompensates. Your blood sugar drops below where it started, and that drop is what triggers the craving. Your brain interprets that drop as an emergency and screams for fast energy. Fast energy means sugar. This is not weakness. This is physics happening inside your body. The solution starts at your very first meal of the day. Protein and fat at breakfast change everything. Not because of some trendy diet logic, but because they slow digestion. They prevent that initial spike. And they keep your blood sugar in a stable range for hours. People who make this one shift alone report that their afternoon cravings drop dramatically within just a few days. One simple change at the start of the day can rewrite the rest of it. Pattern interrupt number 2. Timing your carbohydrates differently. This doesn't mean eliminating them. This doesn't mean living in fear of fruit or rice or bread forever. It means understanding that eating carbohydrates alongside fiber, protein, or fat dramatically slows the glucose response. When you eat a piece of fruit on an empty stomach, your blood sugar spikes fast. When you eat that same piece of fruit after a handful of nuts or some cheese, the response is completely different. Same food, different outcome, just because of timing and pairing. There's also something happening with your gut that most people don't know about. Certain bacteria in your digestive system actually survive by feeding on sugar. When those bacteria are dominant, they send chemical signals to your brain that you experience as cravings. This is not a metaphor, this is actual microbial communication influencing your behavior. The good news is that gut bacteria respond to dietary changes relatively quickly. Within weeks of eating more fiber-rich foods, fermented foods, and reducing refined sugar, the population of those sugar-hungry bacteria starts to decline. And as they decline, so does the intensity of the cravings they were generating. Now here's something that will feel almost too simple to be true. Hydration, chronic mild dehydration triggers the same part of your brain as hunger and craving. Your body is not always efficient at distinguishing between needing water and needing food. Many cravings that feel specific to sugar are actually thirst signals that got misread. Drinking a large glass of water when a craving hits and then waiting 10 minutes has been shown in multiple studies to reduce the intensity of the craving significantly. 10 minutes, just water, and the craving either disappears completely or becomes much easier to manage. Let's talk about stress, because this is where so many people's plans completely unravel. When you're under stress, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol raises blood sugar in preparation for the threat your nervous system thinks you're facing, but then insulin responds to bring it down. And you're back in that low blood sugar state again, craving something sweet. Stress doesn't just make you emotionally want sugar, it physiologically triggers the same cycle as eating a sugary meal. So managing stress isn't just about mental wellness, it's directly connected to your ability to control what you eat. Even 5 minutes of slow, deliberate breathing when stress peaks can interrupt the cortisol spike enough to reduce the downstream craving. This sounds incredibly simple, and it is. But simple doesn't mean ineffective. The research on breathing techniques and cortisol reduction is genuinely compelling. People who use breath-based stress management as a tool throughout the day consistently report lower cravings, more stable energy, and significantly better food choices overall. Sleep is the next piece of this puzzle, and it cannot be skipped. Even one night of poor sleep increases your hunger hormones and decreases your fullness hormones the following day. It literally changes your body chemistry in a way that makes resisting cravings much harder. People who are chronically undersleeping are fighting cravings with one hand tied behind their back, and they don't even know it. Prioritizing sleep isn't indulgent, it's strategic. It's one of the highest leverage things you can do to make every other strategy work better. And finally, let's talk about something that nobody talks about enough. Finding genuine satisfaction. One of the core reasons cravings become uncontrollable is because people are restricting too aggressively. They're white-knuckling through meals they don't enjoy. They're eating food that feels like punishment. And their brain, which is always looking for reward, eventually overrides everything and demands compensation. The goal is never to become someone who suffers through eating. The goal is to find genuinely satisfying foods that also serve your body well, so that the need to compensate with sugar never builds to a breaking point. When people make these shifts together, not one at a time, but in a coordinated, intentional approach, the transformation is almost startling. People describe finally feeling free around food for the first time in years. They describe having energy that doesn't crash. They describe their clothes fitting differently without ever having gone on a diet. They describe their mood changing, their sleep improving, their relationships improving because they're no longer irritable and depleted all the time. The ripple effect of getting this right goes so far beyond just food. And here's what I want you to really sit with right now. Every single day you spend in that craving cycle, every afternoon fighting something that has a real solution, every evening giving in and then carrying the guilt into the next morning, that is a cost. It's costing you energy, it's costing you mental clarity, it's costing you confidence, and those costs add up in ways that are hard to see clearly when you're still inside them. That program linked in the video description below is built specifically for people who are done spending that cost. Not people who are curious about it someday. Not people who are thinking about maybe trying something eventually. People who are ready right now. If that's not you yet, that's completely fine. But if something in what you watched today lit something up in you, if you felt recognized, if you felt like finally someone understands exactly what this is like, then do not wait. Do not let another week pass where you already know what needs to change and you still haven't taken the step. The link is right there below this video. Go see what it's about. You already know what staying where you are looks like.